Like I love it. I love the nature here. I just feel like there's something really beautiful that isn't so spoiled, that isn't so tarnished, like virgin nature. I had the fortune to spend like a lot of time in like the beaches and like in Ometepe and like in the jungles and the mountains and like seeing the volcanoes and the lakes and like it's spectacular.
Hello world, Leslie with Invest Nicaragua, and today we are standing in front of Casa Oro, a legendary hostel, more than 20 years in operation, right in the heart of San Juan del Sur. And I'm joined by my best friend, my confidant, my client, my brother, Muffadal, who is going to walk us through the relaunch of Casa Oro with Cafe Oro, specializing in chocolate and coffee, the best that Nicaragua has to offer. Thank you, Muffadal.
Thanks for having me on the show again, Leslie.
We're very happy to have you here. We're happy to have you in Nicaragua. Let's go take a look inside Casa Oro. Let's see what's going on with the cafe. Let's get an update from Muffadal on everything Casa Oro, chocolate and coffee related.
Let's go. Follow us. Oi.
Yeah, dude, you gotta get a huge sign on the roof.
Cafe Oro, Casa Oro.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, we're walking into the place. You go.
Yeah, man.
This is it.
Come on in. No hay nadie atendiendo. Hola, ¿qué tal? Gracias. Gracias. Muchas gracias.
Tenemos cappuccino, mochaccino, que es especialidad de la casa.
A mí me encantaría un mocha frío.
¿Ok? ¿Para ti?
Para mí, un americano.
Ok, ya se lo preparado. Tenemos tres tipos de chocolate.
Ajá.
El clásico, que es de la casa.
Ajá.
Tenemos el leche dorada.
Sí.
Y el afrodisíaco, que es un poco picoso, pero bien
Ok,
bueno.
yo quiero afrodisíaco.
So right now, we are in the new Casa Oro Cafe. This is an incredibly beautiful space, serving the best Nicaraguan chocolate and coffee, as well as other food. Muffadal, congratulations first.
Thank you.
And how did we get here? This was originally just a hostel.
Yeah.
It served food to clients, but over the last 10 or so years, you've taken it to a completely different level. How do we arrive at Casa Oro Cafe?
Yeah, excellent question. Well, how much time do you have?
As much time as you need.
Yeah, so I mean, I came here as a volunteer on a permaculture farm about 11, 12 years ago. It was like 2012.
Wow.
And this really changed my whole worldview, my perspective on life, on business, on like what do I want to do in this world and like what's my purpose here. And I felt a strong call to like really find a way to build a business that's good for the environment, that's good for the community, and that is a good business also, right? And and so this led me down this road of like ecotourism, food and beverage, and like wanting to build this ecosystem of businesses. And so I came here and
San Juan del Sur.
San Juan del Sur. I wanted to be by the beach because I love the beach and like people are here. I mean, I met you.
This is where we met.
It's where we met, right? And I kept seeing this place. It was for sale, and I remember I asked you. I was like, "Yo, like, how come no one buys this place?" And I started to do some analysis and numbers, and thought it could be a good opportunity to connect with the farm. And and so we invested in this place, remodeled it. I'm really grateful for the previous owners also. There was already a spot. It was already the top of the list in the Lonely Planet. It was a visited hostel. We had a lot of people coming in.
They had created a recognizable brand and destination before the turnover.
Yeah, and I feel like I was super privileged, I like came here at the right time, at the right place, and was able to give it new energy. And so 7 years ago, on the date, I reopened Casa Oro after the first big renovation of this place.
Now, let's pause there.
Yeah.
So 7 years ago, you do a complete remodel of Casa Oro. You add on a third level.
Yep.
You add in a cafe. What were your thoughts at that point in time with, let's say, the phase 1 remodel?
Yeah. So I mean, in that phase 1, I really wanted to build the place that I always wanted to stay at.
Okay.
I was a nomad for almost a decade before I settled here. I'd stayed in so many hostels all over the world, and I really wanted to build like the place that I was looking for all that time, right?
A place you had never stayed
A
in.
place that I'd never stayed in, that I always wished I could have stayed at. Yeah, because I think that travel is this incredible transformational power, and this place where there's these random collisions, and I wanted to optimize for the possibility of synchronicity, that people could run into each other and that people could like enjoy this space as like a hub, and it could be a place for travelers as well as people who live here, people who come from other parts of the country also.
Bringing together the local and foreign visitors of San Juan, as well as the locals, the people who live here.
That's it, you know, because we all have red blood.
And we all bleed if you cut us.
Yes, that's it.
So, what was your lesson or your takeaway after the phase 1 remodel? And then bring us to today. Bring us to the phase 2 relaunch that we just saw a few nights ago, last night.
Totally, yeah. So, I mean, so over that time, after we opened here, we got into some other boutique experiences with like hotels, and then I got really curious about chocolate. I wanted to build a product-based business that still had the same top-line mission of regeneration. How do we leave everything better? People, places, economies, environments, and like how can we do that on an entire supply chain where every single person involved is better because they interacted with us, because they contracted with us, because we did business with them. And
It's ambitious.
Yeah.
It's an ambitious goal.
Yeah, and I think it should be the default, you know? Like, why do we build things that are inherently extractive and like hurtful maybe to someone? Like, it can never last in the long run, I think, right?
I agree with you.
Yeah.
A lot of people may say that's somewhat contradictory to business.
Sure, yeah.
What would your response to that be?
I think that it depends on your timeline. I think if you're thinking about it in terms of quarterly reports and earnings per share and stuff like that, yeah. But if you're thinking about this for your children, for my grandchildren, for the future generations, then we gotta change how we think about things.
Can't think on a quarterly basis.
Yeah, you can't think on a
Need to
quarterly
think on the
basis.
10-year timeline.
Yeah, at least.
At least.
At
I
least.
love that.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a seat. Let's check out the rest of this space and let's dive a little deeper.
Excellent. All right.
So, you're back in Nicaragua. We're in San Juan del Sur. Why was it important to you to relaunch Casa Oro, to bring the cafe concept or improve the cafe concept here? You just relaunched. You had an incredible party last night. Amazing music, amazing food. Why did you have to improve on something that was already pretty great?
Yeah. I mean, so it's like we never stop learning, right? I feel like I'm an eternal student and evolving, being able to let go of what was and make space for this new and improved thing, right? So here, you know, like I feel like we had our cafe and it was going and it was good, and I just I wanted to bring back some of what I learned from Chicago now. So it's like I escaped Chicago, I learned this whole thing here, right? And then I go to Chicago and I launch like this specialty chocolate and coffee shop, right? And in Chicago, in the United States, there is this like coffee shop culture and this incredible like depth of knowledge. It's like I feel like I've learned so much also from Chicago, from my team in Chicago, and I've been able to now bring back that knowledge to hear about like the preparation now, right? So here it's like the production on the farm level, which is this huge effort, right, of processing, drying, producing the thing, right? And then normally stateside or in Europe or like in the Western developed world, right, coffee gets roasted and then prepared. And there's this whole crazy science about extraction times, the type of water, like the size of your grind, and like the pressure of the machine, the type of machine, the
Literally
type of
the
grinder,
engineering behind
the
it.
engineering, and like the humidity that's outside, and like everything affects it. So being able to bring back some of that thinking, that frame of mind, here, right? So that we could really have an elevated chocolated coffee experience at the source, where it comes from, actually. And so, you know, it's this evolution also. It's like we're growing up. Like when I first built this spot, it was like the hostel, like the quintessential iconic hostel that I always wanted to stay at, and I feel really great about, you know, the tenure that it's had, and it's still here, right? It's still like above us, a hostel. So now a big part of here, of the remodel, was also trying to like make a separation a little bit. So now we have like our cafe in the front of the house. We've moved like our hostel, hotel, tour operation kind of to the back side of the house. To really like brighten it up, you know, we gave this amazing paint job. We brought in these plants, we brought in this artist, we put the machine front and center, and we really thought about the design. And we got more intentional about the feeling of the place. And like, what do we want people to feel when they're here? And like, how can we really make it this place where everyone can gather here and can come here? And that you don't feel like you're intruding on the hostel guest experience here. Yeah, and I really wanted to honor the origin.
And you've brought it full circle again, because you said your original concept was creating a space where you could bring individuals together, be it locals, foreigners, whoever's coming through this space, and have them unite, have them share, have them make memories. So you've kept that same vision. You're just improving on it and building on top of it.
That's it. And the mission's the same. Regeneration. Leave everyone better, and create the space for those kinds of experiences to happen. And I keep learning about it, and it keeps evolving. It's organic.
What's the most important lesson that you've learned over the last 10 years in this journey, through this experience?
That's an awesome question. Let me think about it for a second.
The one that comes to mind, it doesn't have to be necessarily the top. But
I think like the thing that feels most present for me is the importance of like people and relationships in the business and like in the team. I think that that's really where everything starts from. There's all kinds of playbooks and frameworks out there for how to think about finances or metrics or like even design to some extent, right? But this, the playbook of people, it doesn't quite exist, right? Humans. And in humans, it's like, I can't do any of this alone, right? It's huge, like literally thousands of people, right? That have influenced, touched, worked on part of the Casa Oro group over the last 10 years, right? And the importance of like really meeting people where they're at and like having greater empathy, like understanding first instead of trying to like, I guess, impose. Or like, and then also being able to understand and then put myself into a position of like teacher mode and not getting so frustrated I'm definitely guilty of like I feel like I've gotten like angry sometimes, right? Or it's like I really care about
a normal
this.
human emotion.
Yeah. Yeah, and just being able to learn to manage myself, really, you know, and the self-awareness of like my own emotions and how that influences the team, and then how the team influences the whole experience, the quality of the craftsmanship and the
Customer service
and maintenance, and everything could look nice and clean.
Yeah. So we're talking about your vertically integrated supply chain. We jumped over an important topic. You're visiting us here in San Juan del Sur, but you're spending most of your time in Chicago now, and you just launched Oro Chocolate and Coffee in Wicker Park. That's the last time we saw you. That's the last time you were on the show.
You're right, yeah.
Tell us about what's going on in Chicago, how the opening went, and why it was important to you to bring this delicious product to the US.
100%. Yeah. I appreciate that question. Yeah, so I mean, we just we opened up Oro Chocolate and Coffee in Chicago on December 1st.
December 1st.
So we've been open for a month and a half now. And yeah, you know, it's like the culmination of my journey here. I escaped the cold of Chicago to come live by the beach, the endless summer, and I learned so many things on that journey, right? I learned about how to build a business with purpose, with passion, and these products, and like how these products work, and that there is a way that we could have a regenerative supply chain that cares about every single part and person involved. And so I felt this call to share it, right? To go home, back to my roots, spend some more time with my parents and my nephews, and yeah, it just felt like it was the right time. And so I went to Chicago, and over the last 2 years, I've been in this very creative, immersive, intense process of designing and building a chocolate and coffee shop right in Wicker Park in Chicago. And over there, yeah, it's like our design is very open and transparent. There's glass everywhere. So we make the large form blocks of chocolate, and we source and process all of our own coffee here in Nicaragua, and then we send it to Chicago. So we sent it all in a container, and then in Chicago, we melt the chocolate down, and we put it through our tempering and our molding line. So then it gets dispensed into like all of our molds. We do the final packaging of chocolate products in Chicago, and then we also are roasting our coffee in Chicago as well, all behind glass, so that people can come and see it, experience it. And then for the most curious seekers, we're offering a journey to the source experience. You could come into the shop in Chicago, I could serve you a latte, and I could tell you exactly who grew that coffee, where they are, and I could sell you a tour to come back to Nicaragua, to come and experience the production, the farm. We could go surfing, and yeah.
You're really bringing the experience full circle.
That's it.
Someone in Chicago who's trying this mocha can go or come to Nicaragua, meet the farmer who picked this bean, and also enjoy and partake in all the beautiful activities of Nicaragua.
That's it, yeah. And it's, you know, a lot of coffee shops and roasteries, they source from all over the world. And it's amazing because you get all this like incredible array of different flavors at different times of harvest and stuff. We made this very conscious decision to focus on one place, on one region, to go super deep in one place. Like all of the coffee that we source, all of the cacao that we source, it's a deep relationship. And it's a relationship that I feel like honored that I can share it now with like end consumers, and I can bring them to like producers' homes even.
What is the response been from the clientele, from the consumers there, not only on the product itself, but exactly what you're explaining, the source of the coffee, the source of the chocolate, opposed to going to X name brand coffee shop that people are familiar with?
Yeah.
What have people said about that?
Yeah, I think we got a lot of work to do. Okay. I think we have a lot of work to do to really to share this, because I think it's so abnormal that it's hard for a lot of people, I think, to even like wrap their head around. It's kind of like, what? And so I feel like a big job that we have now is to really share the story, right? And this show, it's part of it, right? To be able to really to take people there, right? And to be able to share the depth of this experience, to be able to share the process, right? So many people that are into coffee, that are into chocolate for the ritual, for the taste, for the experience. They're like even people who care about the sourcing a lot. Are just becoming more curious and more aware of the process and really like what it takes, right? From the farm to like a finished product, right? And yeah, it's a pretty crazy process.
So for those who are watching and are in Chicago or traveling through Chicago, what's the address? Where can they check out Oro Chocolate and Coffee?
Yeah, so they can come check us out at 1553 North Milwaukee Avenue in Chicago, Illinois. Zip code 60622. And exactly like you said, it's this full circle connection. I escaped Chicago to come here. I learned this amazing thing here. I took it back home to then invite people from home of like, hey, look, there's another way. Come check this out. And so I'm just, I'm stoked to be able to share. I feel super honored to be a steward of this, to know to have this connection, to have had the fortune to have explored the forests, to have met the people, to have like spent time with the trees, and like to see how they grow even. It's incredible tree also, like just the biology, like the nature of the cacao tree and the coffee tree. Yeah, they're just so interesting, I think. And I think that they should hang out more together. And so that's kind of the other part of our mission, right? Is like, I just want to put them together. I just feel like they belong together. Just like two beings made in heaven.
Who need to hang out more.
That's it, Yeah.
Beautiful. So if you're in Chicago, if you're passing through Chicago, make sure to check out Oro Chocolate and Coffee.
Yeah.
And now we're back in Nicaragua.
The original.
There's a recurring theme of people, humans, connection, energy, be it with your team, be it with your customers or clients. It seems like at the root of everything you do, it boils down to the experience that another human being is having. Whether it's drinking a cup of coffee, traveling to the farm to meet the person who is playing an integral role in building this, or just having a conversation with someone here in the space.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I really think that humans working together, we can do anything. Yeah. And and we spend so much of our lives at work, right? And like, so we might as well make it really good and purposeful and
fun,
intentional
and enjoyable,
and fun, and like why do we have to be upset and frustrated about it? Sure, there's moments of that always. It's like we're only human, but yeah, I think like that's a huge thing I've learned that that I continue to learn about and experiment with is like, how can I make better human experiences?
Not only for others, but for ourselves as well.
Yeah.
So one last question. What is it about Nicaragua? What is it about San Juan del Sur that has made you fall in love with it? Let's go macro to micro, or you can focus on just San Juan, but why do you love it here? Why do you invest here, spend time here, put so much energy and effort into building out what you've done? Why here?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, I feel like when I came here first, I really like I love it. I love the nature here. I just feel like there's something really beautiful that isn't so spoiled, that isn't so tarnished, like virgin nature. I had the fortune to spend like a lot of time in like the beaches and like in Ometepe and like in the jungles and the mountains and like seeing the volcanoes and the lakes, and like it's spectacular. Like I feel like I've never really experienced such a diverse and intense ecosystem of biodiversity anywhere in the world. So that's, I think, my top, like the thing that really drew me in here. And then I think the thing that's kept me here and kept me coming back and continuing to invest and reinvest, or like again and again and again, and then take it out and come back, and like I feel like I belong here now. Like I feel like this place, it's like part of me, and like I feel like so like welcomed. I feel like there's this really beautiful community of people here also that have supported me, from like all the business owners and like the authorities and like the mayor's office and like the environmental office, and it's been nice to be able to be here and to feel like, okay, like people want to grow together, right? And I feel like the Nicaraguan people, on average as a whole, there's just this really, really beautiful regenerative spirit about them. There's this resiliency, this grit, there's this realness, this warmth.
Love.
Yeah.
Love and hospitality.
Yeah, and at first it can be kind of like tough, but I feel like once you get through this like shell, it's really nice. It's really nice, and it makes me feel good. So I keep coming back.
Well, I couldn't have said it better myself. This is a place that captured my heart.
Yeah.
I've been here for 12 or so years now. No plans on leaving, and I agree with everything you said. It's an absolutely beautiful place. The people are amazing, and it's been an extremely welcoming and generous country, culture, community towards me and my family as well.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah.
It's
awesome
fun.
here.
It's fun, It's like, it's nice. The weather's great. Like, the ocean's a block away.
It's not a bad life.
Yeah.
Not a bad life.
Another day in paradise.
Another day in paradise. So, for those who aren't familiar with this iconic corner, where can people find Casa Oro and Casa Oro Cafe?
Yeah, so here we are, 1 block west of the Central Park, the Catedral of San Juan del Sur. We're also 1 block east of the ocean.
Correct. Guys, if you haven't been here, come check out Casa Oro. Have some coffee, have some chocolate. If you're lucky, maybe this wonderful human being will be here to greet you. and if not, just sit down and take in the beauty of Nicaragua and San Juan del Sur. Muffadal, thank you for your time. Thank you for your contribution, for the community, all of your effort, your hard work, your labor. It does not go unnoticed. I'm very fortunate to call you a friend and brother. And I'm excited to see what the next 7, 14, 21, 30 years look like.
Yeah,
Onward
man.
and upward.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure, and I really feel honored. I feel honored and privileged to be here to be able to steward this space and to be able to support in this dream of regeneration. So thank you, brother. Appreciate it, man.
I love you too, man.
Yes. Yes.